Welcome back to our beginning algebra lessons, or Algebra 1. Today we're doing lesson 6, dividing real numbers and negative numbers. Let's go over some few rules that we'll be discussing. What if you divide a negative divided by a negative? They're two like things, they will give you a positive. These rules are very similar to multiplying. I would say that they would be identical, but nevertheless, we will go over them again. If you divide a negative divided by a positive, they're two opposite signs. You will get a negative value. Or if you just flipped it, you divide a positive divided by a negative, you get a negative value because they're two opposites being divided. Same if you divide a positive divided by a positive, you get a positive. Now, say we divide 30 divided by negative 3. Well, you're dividing two opposite signs, so your answer should be a negative. Now, just do the regular division and you get negative 10. Now, say you do negative 30 divided by positive 3. Well, they're two opposite signs. Again, you get a negative value for your answer. So it'd be negative 10. Say we have negative 30 divided by negative 3. Your answers are being divided by two signs that are the same. So your answer should be positive. So your answer will be positive 10. Say we're dividing 30 divided by 3. Both of the signs are the same, so your answer should be positive. So you just get a positive 10. You can rewrite each of these divisions in the fraction form. As for example, 30 over negative 3 would equal negative 10. Negative 30 over 3 would equal negative 10. Negative 30 over negative 3 would equal 10. And 30 over 3 would equal 10. Let's go over example number 2. Say we have negative 10 divided by 0. Well, if you divide it by 0, it's not defined. Because if you go over here and we write out it in the square form, 0 with the 10 in the box, we need to find out how many times do you need to multiply 0 to get 10. And the answer would be you can't. Because anytime you multiply 0 by anything, you get 0. So we can write this in a general form as an x. Anytime you have a negative x over 0, it's not defined. The same applies to a positive value of x. So if you find this in your algebra, you know that this is not defined, no matter if it's positive or negative. Even if the negative value is negative 0. Because if you have a negative x over a negative 0, you're still indicating that it's an x over 0, because those two values would be positive. And there's no such thing really as a negative 0 anyway. Say we have example number 3. Say we have 0 over 8. This would equal 0. Now, if we have 0 divided by 8 would equal 0. 0 divided by 33 would also equal 0. Now, it doesn't matter if the denominator is a negative. It will still equal 0 if you're dividing by 0. So 0 divided by 8 would still equal 0. 0 divided by 33 would equal 0. Now, if you do that negative, 0 divided by negative 33 would still equal 0. Now, even if you have 0 divided by some number, any number, as long as it's positive, it doesn't matter, it will be 0. Same applies if you have a 0 divided by a negative value, it would still equal 0. No matter what value that is, as long as it's not 0. And even then, it would still be 0, because if you divide by 0, it'd be undefined, not a number. Okay, example number 4. Let's go into reciprocals. If we have 1/2, what would be the reciprocal of this? Well, simply put, just flip the fraction and you'd get 2 over 1, which also would be just 2. So whenever you have a reciprocal, it's just the flipped fraction of that number. So you can write this as 1/2 is 2. It is the reciprocal of 2. And if you have the value 2, the reciprocal of that is 1/2, because you just flip over 2 over 1 would equal to 1/2. To find out that if this is the true reciprocals, you multiply the reciprocals together, and this should give you a value of 1. So if you multiply 2 and its reciprocal 1/2, then you should get 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, and so your fraction should be 2 over 2, which is also equal to 1. Because how many times does 2 go into 2? 1 time. Now, let's not forget that you don't add an opposite sign to the value, you just flip the fraction. So 2 is not a reciprocal of negative 1/2. It's just you flip the fraction only. Let's go to example number 5. Say we have 1/5. The reciprocal of that would be flipping the fraction. You would get 5 over 1, which would be 5. Now, say we have 1/5 as our fraction. What's the reciprocal? Flip the fraction over, you get 5 over 1, which would also equal 5. To check this, to see if we did this correctly, we multiply the reciprocals together. 1/5 times 5. You would get 5 over 5 would also equal 1. So anytime you get 1 as your value, when you test to see if you did the reciprocal correctly, anytime you get 1, you did it correctly. So let's talk in general terms. If you have x over y, what would be the reciprocal? Simply y over x. And the same, if you have x over y, you would write it as x over y is y over x. And if you multiply these together, you simply have x over y times y over x. The two values on top would be multiplied, and the two values on the bottom would be multiplied. Now you can collect like terms, find out which values you have on top and which values you have the same on the bottom. We have the x and the x, they cross off, and the y and the y. So to find out if this is true, how many times does y need to make a y? One time, if y is any real number and not 0. Same values work for x. Any real number can work for x as long as it's not 0. So x over y is y over x. That's the reciprocal. We have proven this generally as our method indicates. So say we have, some random number 3 as y, and x is 99. So if we have 3 over 99, what is the reciprocal? It'd be 99 over 3. You flip the fraction. Let us see if we have done the reciprocal correctly. Well, you just multiply the 3 and the 99. You get as a top fraction, and the 99 on the bottom multiplied by the 3. See if there's a 3 on top, yes, and a 3 on bottom. You can cross those out because those indicate to be 1. They make 1. Same thing with the 99. 99 is on top, 99 is on bottom. That means you have 1 as your answer. So the reciprocal of 3 over 99 is 99 over 3. When we've proven that to see if the value, when you multiply the reciprocals together, you get 1. As long as your values are not equal to 0, you should be able to get the same answer we did. Okay, now let's use the reciprocals and the example for 7. Let's do example 7. Say we have 3/4 divided by a negative 3/8. Well, the reciprocal of negative 3/8 would be a negative 8/3. To do the math, you simply flip the right fraction or take its reciprocal, then multiply it. So we have 3/4, we don't do anything with this one, and you change the one on the right. Do the reciprocal and then multiply it. So we have 3/4 multiplied by the reciprocal of 3/8, which would be negative 8/3. Since we have a positive value multiplied by a negative value, we will end up getting a negative value because you're multiplying two that are opposite signs. Multiply the tops together, 8 and 3, you get negative 24. Then multiply by the bottom, you get 12. 3 times 4 is 12. And that is your answer, negative 24 over 12. We'll go with example number 8. Say we have negative 5 over 10 divided by negative 8 over 5. Now remember, the one on the right is the one that you take the reciprocal of, never the one on the left. So bring down the negative 5/10, multiply it by the reciprocal of negative 8 over 5, which would be negative 5 over 8. So multiply negative 5/10 by negative 5 over 8. To do this, you just multiply the tops together. Since we're multiplying by two signs that are the same, your answer will be positive. So 5 times 5 is 25. Do the bottom fraction, 10 times 8 is 80. So your fraction at the end would be 25 over 80. If you didn't flip the correct one, so if you flipped the one on the left and you took the reciprocal of negative 5 over 10, which would give you negative 10 over 5, and then did the multiplication, your answer would be upside down. So if we did negative 10 times negative 8, which would give you 80, and 5 times 5, which would be 25. So your answer would be 80 over 25. Your answer would be upside down. This is not correct. So remember, the one on the right is the one to do the reciprocal of, or to flip it. Let's do example number 9. Say we have a negative 6/5 divided by a negative 3/4. Flip the 3/4, negative 3/4, or do the reciprocal of it, and then multiply it by the negative 6/5. Go ahead and multiply the top numbers, negative 6 and negative 4, give you a positive value, give you 24, and then 5 times 3 would be 15. And that would be your answer, 24 over 15. If you wanted to reduce it, you could, or make it into a whole number fraction. And this concludes lesson 6, dividing real numbers and negative numbers. If you liked our video, please give us a like. If you have any comments, please place them down below, and please subscribe. Thank you for watching. This will conclude this lesson for our beginning algebra or Algebra 1 lessons. You can check out our series underneath our series tab.